Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone? Great. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining me this morning. My name is Krista Popowych, and I live, train, chauffeur children in Vancouver, Canada. So it's always great to be back here at ACSM. And today we're really going to look at our careers, maybe where they're at, maybe where they're headed, maybe looking at where some decisions might be in your life in terms of what you want to do for a fitness career. And I was thinking about this when I was doing this lecture. Next year will be my 30th year that I've actually been in the fitness industry as a career, and yes, I started when I was 9. No, just kidding. But when I should have said, earlier than that. But when I look back, it's really fantastic because I can honestly say, from a career perspective, I haven't had any regrets. Being in this fitness industry has not been a moment where I'm like, I should have done blah, 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 blah. I should have done this or I should have done that. And so I hope today with that, I can kind of, give you a little bit of what my experience has been in the industry and maybe some tools or tips or some ideas in terms of what to do with that. How's that sound? Good? Okay. So it was funny. I bumped into a woman not too long ago and she said to me, "Oh, aren't you still an aerobics instructor?" Right? Does anyone remember? So this... I have to tell you, and this was my favorite, right? We had to have matching leg warmers and all those kinds of things. Some of you weren't even born, which is a good thing because you wouldn't have wanted to wear any of these outfits. But from a starting perspective, this is what got me into the not this particularly, but the idea of working in fitness. And I was doing my degree. I had actually kind of thought I wanted to be a doctor. And then I told my dad I was going to be an aerobics instructor. So that, you can imagine how that went over. So, but that wasn't really the emphasis of it. But the idea being that when we look at where we start and what we're doing, we always have to go back to what was our passion, what did we love to do? And for me in the early days, I loved being able to teach fitness to other people. I loved being able to inspire them. And for my thought process is, well, how can I create a career that is around helping people? What is it within the fitness industry? And for myself, and probably for you, how many of you are pretty active, right? We love to be active. We understand the activity part of life, and that's really what we want to continue to doing. And now the nice thing today is that we've come a long way. I love this treadmill. Look at that one. So they were doing, and I love that they're exercising in their little shoes, with their hats on and their outfits. And we have people like Jack LaLanne and all those other kind of people that have come before us and been really prominent in the culture of fitness and making that move forward. And nowadays, when I started, all we did was high-low impact, but nowadays there's so many different options within that group fitness arena or within the personal. We didn't even have really personal training. So the idea of personal training or coaching or using that as a career, there's lots of fantastic options around that. All right, so have you heard the saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life? How many of you have heard that, right? Okay, well, that's bull crap, okay? Because you may love what you do, but guess what? Guess what you have to do? You gotta work hard. So you may love it, but there's still a lot of work within that process. And it's funny, when my husband gets dressed in the morning, he puts on his suit, and I put on my fitness gear, I say, who's going to have a more fun day today? So you always have to go back. Yes, it's fun, but there's also a lot of work that's involved in really supporting a career long term. So it's not going to be easy. Some of you are still in university and haven't even, it's not going to go from A to Z right away. It's going to take a little bit of time and some steps in between. And that path that you're on is going to change a little bit as well. So what you're doing now may not be what you do in 10 years or 15 years or even like me in 30 years, but there'll be an element where you look back and say, okay, what was I passionate about? Why did I want to go into that field in the beginning? And if I've lost that passion, why have I lost that? Why am I not loving what I'm doing anymore? So the journey is going to be a long journey, but the fortunate thing is if you manage to really find what it is that drives, you're going to want to work hard. You're going to want to put in those extra hours. You're going to want to take the time to create that career path that is of interest to you. Now, this is my philosophy and has always been my philosophy, not gambling per se, but my philosophy is if you've heard the definition, is the definition of luck is when hard work meets opportunity. Okay, when hard work meets opportunity. What that means to me is that all the steps that I took and all the steps that you take, the things that you do, maybe you don't really want to do it, maybe you're asked to do it and you're not going to get paid for it, But all those things that you do create really your platform, so when other opportunities come by, you can say, yeah, I could do that. Oh, you want me to teach this? Oh yeah, I could do that. You want me to lecture on that? Okay, I could do that because I've had those different types of experiences. So from an advice perspective, it's all those things that you start to add up that when those opportunities come up, you're ready for them. So you're ready for them. So you have to jump in and try those different types of things to see if it might fall in your lap. Because it's not, you can't hope for things to happen. You can't just hope, I hope this will happen, I hope that will happen. We have to actually take take the effort to make sure that it does happen for us. So definition, preparation, opportunity, hard work, opportunity, when those doors open, you'll be ready to go. And the difference between who you are and what you want to be is what you do, It's not just, there was a book that came out a number of years ago, The Secret. Did anyone remember that book? Maybe, and it was said, if you just think about it, it'll happen. What do you think? You could think about it, but you also have to do something about it. You've got to take action. So you've got to take action steps. If right now, if you're looking at what you're doing in your career and you're not happy, but you haven't taken the steps to change, guess what? It's not going to change at all. So you have to take those steps to move yourself forward. So do what you need to do to get where you want to be. All right, so navigating your career, assessing your career, maybe looking at where you're at this point, and then building your career, it does begin with that single step. So after this weekend, maybe when you walk away and you've been to different lectures and you've been to different things, it'll start to spur some ideas. And going away or getting some opportunities to think about things is just as important as doing. Because lots of times we're doing, but we don't get an opportunity to kind of step back and figure out, okay, what's that journey going to look like for me? What are the things that I need to do to really build that career that I want to build, and take the time to do it? Because it's not going to just, automatically happen. So the first thing, in this big picture of life and figuring out, okay, what do I want to do? You have to first assess what your own personal values are. I think Tony Robbins was the one that said, your values are your life's compass, and without them, you're lost. So your values are your life's compass, meaning you need to determine and list in your life, what are the things that you value most? What are the things that are of value in your life that matter, and it could be in your life or in your business, because when tough decisions come up in your life, you'll be able to make those decisions based on your value system. So thinking about, okay, what do you value right now? Do you value career? Do you value financial independence? Do you value your family? Do you value adventure? Do you value fame? What are the things? You start to list. What are maybe the top 3 things in your life that you value? And then that allows you to make some tough decisions when those choices come up. Or even from a business perspective, if your values is that you believe in good health and wellness, and that's what you want your business to be about, and someone approaches you with the newest, hottest, greatest things that's going to make your company tons of money, but maybe it doesn't ethically sit well with you from a values perspective, then it's easier to turn down that, because that health and wellness is a greater value than the financial maybe end of it. So thinking about that in those terms. So for me, for my guiding philosophy, and it changes a little bit, it'll change a little bit, but it's deep down, my values have always been my family comes first. Probably some of you are like, okay, if I had to choose one thing above all, maybe my family would be that choice. And so for me, that was similar. Like, career was important, but my family was more important. And when we were in our 30s, I was married, we had a child, and then we found out that my husband had cancer, and we're like, okay, this changes our world a little bit. He's fine, he did really well, but they told us that we would never have another child. So we're happy, we got a great one, we got a child. So back to work doing my thing, and then I ended up having another child. And yes, he was the father, so that was good. But anyway, so I was working 60, 70, all these hours of this great job. I really loved my career. But then when it came to that, I was like, okay, well, what is more important? Is my family more important or my career? So my choice was easy to, okay, I don't want to do that kind of a career as busy as it was, because those choices were different. So that's all I'm saying, is you have to be very clear on what your values are. And there she is, little Layla. So having those values will help you throughout your life, and go check in on those. If you're struggling with any of those, go back to where your values are. All right, so where are you at right now? So that's the question. You got your value system kind of in place. What are you passionate about? What like really jazzes you up in the morning? If going to work like that, I'm like, ugh, that doesn't jazz you up, you're not doing what you love to do. It's not good, it doesn't mean that every day is going to be a fun and joy, but what is it? What are you really passionate about? What are you good at? That's really important. What do you really, when you're in that flow, what do you shine at? What are you good at? And what are you not so good at? Where are your weaknesses? And from a business perspective, for some of you that might be thinking about starting a business, you need to think about what your strengths are if you were to start something. What are you really good at? And don't bring on a partner or someone who is exactly like you, right? You need to, if you're really good at training but terrible at the business side, guess what? You need to bring someone in on your team that is good on the opposite side. When you're hiring people, don't hire people that are exactly like you. Hire people that are different or that will complement what skill sets you have. So determining, what is it that I am good? Where do I maybe need some more work? What are some of the areas that are not my strengths or things that I don't really love to do or want to do? Why are you in the fitness industry? So if I asked you right now, why do you want to be in the fitness or sport or health or wellness industry? How would you answer that? Could anybody answer that right now? Why are you in this field? Why are you in this field? Sure.
Because I like to coach and help people and work with them individually.
You like to coach, help people, and work with them individually. So that for you, that's your foundation of why you are doing. That's your why. What else? Anybody else? Yes.
If I do not work, I work out.
If you do not work, you work out. Okay, well there you go. So having a balance of that, good. What else? Anybody else have anything? Why they're here? Why are you in the fitness industry? Yes.
I mean, like what he said, but I just love movement in general.
You love movement. You just when you start to move, how do you? Like I saw you yesterday in class. When you started to move, how did you? You could just everybody's energy changes, right? Our energy changes. So we love to move. Who's here because they want to help people? Right? We want to change people's lives, however that change may be. And that's kind of the common thread within our industry is that at the end of the day, if we can help someone be better, do better, feel better, support that, that's really why. And we need to always find and fulfill our why. Why are we doing what we're doing? What is our why? Why are we here? Where are we taking the steps to make sure that we are continuing to support our why? Who are you? What makes you unique? If you think about it and you had to jot that down, what are some of the things that really make you different from everybody else? What's your uniqueness? We used to call it in the industry, what's your personal magic? What's that personal magic that you have or that you can bring to the table that maybe somebody else can't? So determining from your perspective what is unique, what makes you tick, kind of what is that side of you, and how would you define both your personal and your professional success? What does that mean when you define that? Does that mean you've got a job and you're financially able to do what you want to do? Does that mean you have other aspirations? But you need to look at defining what that means to you in terms of a career pathway that will really help drive that. And how are you wanting to make your mark in the industry? How are you wanting to make your mark in your career or just with individuals as well? What is that lasting impression that you will leave with those individuals? So first thing we want to do is think about now, what are the possibilities for you to do in the fitness industry? And here's the nice thing, guess what? Guess who's needed in our world today? All of us. What are we suffering from in everyday life? What are we suffering from? A lot of people who are sedentary, inactive, obese, unhealthy, all of those types of things. In our industry, you have, I can honestly say, have a career for the rest of your life because you will always be needed. You will always be needed by someone. How many of you have gone on, sat on a plane beside someone and they ask you what you do? Right? And you say, I'm a trainer, I'm a this, and what do they say to you? Often. Well, this happens to me often. Yeah, I've been meaning to work out, right? Or then they'll start asking you questions like, oh, what about that HIIT program? Or, blah, blah, blah. Like people have a general knowledge about fitness, but they don't always know what to do they? They have they think they know, some ideas, but they want help. They always, every single time, they're like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to do this, or I want to do that, or I want to, or my blah, blah, blah is doing that. So the possibilities are there. So first you need to then think about, well, what are all the possibilities for your career? What are some of the things that you can do? And there's a lot of things that you can do. So even if you think you're in one path, there's so many different types of things you can do. Well, there's of course personal training. You can work in the rehab world. I did some time doing cardiac rehab. When I first got out of university, I was kind of delving in. I was working at a club the entire time I was in university. I had some interest in cardiac rehab. I tried that for a little while. I still kept the fitness side of it. And, so try different types of things. Maybe you want to open a club or studio. Anybody have aspirations? Maybe they want to open their own business. Working with special populations. We know that the fastest population growth is what? What age and above? Yeah. The baby boomers are huge. They need our help. Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you want to get into corporate fitness, going into the corporate world and doing that. Working in high schools. We used to teach classes for kids in high schools. Writing. Do you want to become a writer? Do you like writing? Do you enjoy doing articles? The whole fitness, component of health and wellness in that area. Maybe you want to be on a TV show. I got to be on a show called The Caribbean Workout, where I went to Barbados to film fitness shows. It was a tough gig, I tell you. No, but it was a fun experience. And the only reason I got that experience is because of all the other things that I had done up until that point. And when that luck comes together, the opportunity and hard work, those types of things happen. Coaching, doing online training, there's a whole online world that you can look into, being a professor, teaching, educating, workshops. Do you know that you can go away and teach at sunny locations on holidays where they pay for your, did anybody know this? Okay, well, anyone here a fitness instructor or trainer? Yes, anyone want to go somewhere hot? Okay, yeah. So there's companies out there that will hire you to go for a week and teach at their resort. They pay for your cost of your, your accommodation, all your food, 5-star resorts. You teach maybe 1 or 2 workouts a day, maybe. It's not tough work. It's lots of fun. So maybe you're looking for a holiday and you need to, take some costs out of there. Coaching. The hardest job I ever had is coaching grade 6 boys basketball. 22 of them in grade 6 boys, and I coached them in grade 7 this year as well. So that's my toughest job and everything that I've done. I did a reality TV show called Duds to Studs. I was invited to be a guest trainer. It never aired. But the funny thing about it was really funny. So I go in the first day and the guy's got all this, maybe this is like trade secrets, but whatever. He's got like 7 sweatshirts on, 7, track pants on. He's like this big. And then we filmed that day. And then the next day, all the tracksuit is off. And look how much weight he's lost in 6 weeks. So it was a kind of a funny, it's all backing onto different types of experiences. And education, writing content. One of my jobs now as a global director of education for Kaiser is to write content and education. So all I'm saying is that in 30 years, you'll probably do a lot of different types of things if you choose to do that. Or you stay on the same path because that's the one passion thing that you love to do. All I'm saying is think about what the possibilities are and then try to start to narrow down where it is that you want to do. And think outside of the box. Can you combine your passions with whatever it is you're doing in your career? There's a woman I talked to and she loves animals and she has a personal training dog walking business. So her clients take their dogs, they walk, they go to the park, they train at the park, not the dogs, but the people, and then they head back as well. And that's her business. So there's lots of, thinking outside of what the reality is, of combining what you love to do in what your combination is. All right, so how do you decide? First of all, do you like to move fast? Do you like to move slow? Do you like to move on? How do you move through your life? Think about how you move through your life and how does that career fit into your life? When I used to hire personal trainers, they'd say to me, yeah, I want to work with athletes. And then I'd say, well, you're going to work with the 40 plus, So maybe that wasn't a good fit for them because they wanted a different type of energy. So knowing who you want to work with, how do you move through life? Are you patient? Are you patient? Because that makes a difference to the type of clientele maybe that you work with. Are you restless? Do you like to move on faster? Do you like a job that's changing all the time? Or do you like the consistency of steadiness? What are the things that drive you in that way? Do you like being a player or do you prefer to be the coach? I don't know. What do you guys like? And not always good coaches make great players, or great players make great coaches. And that's really key, and that's important. As a trainer, for example, you may be a fantastic trainer, but you might be a terrible training manager. Right? So you have to know in yourself, what really drives you. One of the actually top trainers I ever had at my club, she was about 4'8", ball of energy, fantastic, knew, connected with people like crazy. I would say that her skill set was to be able to connect with people and remember people in the facility. So if she hadn't seen someone for a while, she's like, hey, I haven't seen you for 3 weeks, where you been? Or she'd remember, oh, you were on holidays here, or wow, I love your new haircut, or she was able to connect with people, which is a lot to do with personal training. We hired her as the personal training director. Guess what? She was terrible. She sucked as a training director. She was a fantastic trainer, but she was a terrible manager. That wasn't her thing. Her office would be like chaos. She would get back to people. But as a trainer, really great. So you need to know where your skills are at, and not always one or the other. Do you like big pictures? Are you a visionary person? Do you like to get things started and pass them on to somebody else to finish? Right? Do you like to come up with the ideas, or are you an implementer? Do you like the steps of implementing things that you need to get done? So what are the things that you love to do? And really important, do you even like people? Right? And if that's not your thing, you might want to look at what job will, define that a little bit differently. So understanding those components. And really from a perspective of yourself is thinking about what your behavior style is. Have some of you done DISC profiles? Or heard of personality profiles, and maybe you've seen that or done that. And does your behavior, personal style, really match your career ambition or your choice? So we have, there's many different samples of this, but this is just one sample where we have a DISC profile, where we have a dominant, influencing, cautious or stable kind of personality style, all right? So that D, how many of you have trained high D personality or would know high Ds? What are they like? When do they want to get results? Now, right? They want results now. Rah, rah, rah. They're ready to go. They're hardcore. Boom, boom. They're really competitive. They're very direct. They say what they think. It just comes out of their mouth, right? There's no holding back on that high D personality. A high I, what are they like? A high I, influencer, energetic, enthusiastic. In the training studio, what are they doing the whole time? Blah, 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 right? Right? They know everyone in everybody's business. In the studio, they're chatting, high energy. They walk into a room late. They would come into this lecture hall. They wouldn't sneak in. They'd say, hey, right? And they'd sit down. High kind of energy. Guess where we are in the fitness industry? Most of us, a lot of us are up here in those quadrants. High C, compliant, accurate, cautious. This is the client that they want to know how many reps. Right? They want to know exactly how many times they should be training, what they need to be doing. And some of you have clients like that, right? They want to know every single thing. They're very cautious. They drive a Volvo, right? No, high S, right? Steady, sincere, patient, modest. High S, those are your clients you have forever. Some of you have those, right? They have a minivan so they can drive everybody home because they're really nice, right? This guy's got a Hummer. And I don't know, what does a high I drive? They got to have a convertible. Like one of those yellow bugs with a flower in the front. I don't know, right? But different personality styles, different behavior styles. You also have a need to understand where you are in those quadrants. Are you more outgoing? Are you more task-oriented? Are you more reserved? And are you more people-oriented? Where do you kind of fit into those quadrants? And not only for yourself to know who you are, but when you're dealing with other people. When you get like a high D, if you're a high D personality, some of us are probably, right? And we train with a high D personality, and you're the boss, but they're the client, and they want to be in charge, but you really want to be in charge, that kind of give and take. Then you still need to take charge, but maybe you then say to them, okay, we're going to do legs today. And they go, I don't want to do legs. And then you go, okay, we're going to do legs. And you have, instead of saying you're going to do this, you're going to say, okay, you have an option. Do you want to do squats or do you want to do lunges? So you still allow them a little bit of control, but you still control the situation. So thinking about how you're dealing with that. When you're managing people, if you are managing someone who's more, if you're D and they're more S, how do you manage that person well? So getting to understand your behavior, personality profile, or your style in a work environment, because sometimes we're different, right? Outside of maybe this S at a party goes crazy. I don't know, so it depends on where you are in that situation, but having a good idea of where that is. All right. So next thing you do is need to create what your goal strategy is or what your vision board is. Take some time and write down what is your vision, what is your goal strategy that you want to approach within your career. You know, maybe 3 things that you want to do. If you're visual, maybe you put pictures up. Maybe it's the car you want to eventually drive, or the career or the life, whatever it is that you want to have. Create your goal strategy and your vision board. We know that setting goals works. We have to set goals, but here's the thing with goal setting. It's often not about, okay, the big picture of the goals, but what we have challenges with is this. How do we go from here to here? So what are the obstacles to your goal achievement? I would spend more time thinking about what is stopping me from what I need to do. What are the things that are stopping me from getting to my goal, getting to my career, getting to where I want to be? Same thing with your clients. If you're training, it's not just about what the end goal is, but what has stopped them from being successful? What has stopped them from hitting their goals or achieving the results that they want? What were those obstacles? There's something there, and we need to look at the obstacle to be able to go beyond that. Would you agree? Spending that time on that. It's funny, I had a client one time who said to me, Krista, how long do I have to do this training stuff for? Like, yeah, for the rest of your life. All right, moving on, right? Okay. But so finding out those obstacles both for yourself to achieve that career and also for your clients as well. Then you've got to develop your plan. What are you going to do? When are you going to do it? Maybe you're still, like, what is your plan in 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, long term? Where? Do you want to live here? Do you want to move to Maui? Where is it that you want to take your career? Why? How? And then you, guess what? Need to get help. Here's the thing that I have learned, and I totally believe over all these years, no one gets ahead on their own. No one gets ahead. None of us will get ahead on our own. We need help from other people in our careers to get us where we want. I go back and thank one of the women that I worked with early on in my career on a regular basis. As a mentor for me, she really changed my path. So you need to find someone that can mentor you and get someone to help you within your career path. And that mentor may change for different things, but having someone there is really key. Be strategic in who you want to mentor you. Find the top of the top, and if they're willing to be able to mentor you, because they can give you a lot of knowledge that will maybe help you stop you from making some, silly things that would have helped you get to where you want to a little quicker, or have some words of advice, or be able there to throw ideas. Determine what you want or need out of a mentorship. What are the things that you are needing from someone to mentor you? Just ask the question. Ask them to be your mentor, and then be a really good, mentor by setting up your meeting, being prepared. What are the things you're going to ask them when you meet with them, either on the phone or, set up regular meetings, whatever it is. Be prepared. Think about questions if you're going into a business or a career that you want to find out about. If you're thinking about maybe you want to become a physical therapist and you've never even, spent any time with a physician, see if you can shadow someone for a while. See if that's what you want to do. Maybe you want to be a teacher. Go shadow someone in that environment so you get to have a better understanding if that is a career for you. Be an awesome mentee. And if you're at that stage in your life where you can be a mentor, I would say be a mentor to others as well. Taking that time to, at our university, I mentor some of the younger students coming out of school, right? We have meetings, they have a whole mentoring program. It's really fantastic. And I meet with these students, help them, give them, my words of advice, like what they say, well, what should I do when I graduate? And I always say, go travel. No, whatever it is. But whatever it is that, go experience life or do, have some plans, but think about what you want to do. The other thing that will help you is have your own personal board of directors. So your personal board of directors, big businesses have board of directors. Small businesses have board of directors. If you are a small business or a single person, doesn't matter, you need your own personal board of directors. These are people in your life that have expertise outside of the industry that you are in. So maybe you have a friend who's a lawyer, maybe you have an aunt who does this, or your sister is your spiritual guide, or whoever it is. Create your own personal board of directors. Find those people in different areas, 5 or 6 of them, and get everybody together. Have a task force meeting. Say, this is what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think of those ideas? Because sometimes we get caught in just our own mind and what we think is right, and someone will bring a fresh approach to the table that will help you make some better decisions. All right. Next thing, take risks and make change. How many of you like change? Honestly, right? Change is hard. Change is hard. So what are you capable of if you allow yourself to be open to change or to step outside of your comfort zone, right? And that's sometimes hard. Right? We get into a zone and it's hard to make those changes. Clients, for example, how many of you that are trainers have had clients forever, right? And maybe they train at the worst possible time and you just don't want to say, I can't do that time anymore because it's, because you like that person so much, or so to go out and say, hey, I need to make a change because it's not working. And sometimes it's just taking that step to do that. So you have to take some risks, not, crazy risks, but taking some risks. And, thinking about what it is, like do your homework. What are some of the skills that you need within your job, within your career that are going to help with that? So these are things that I think are really valuable moving forward. That I would like to encourage you. Public speaking, right? Whether you're doing a proposal to a business, where you're talking to your boss and negotiating a raise, whether you are wanting to do a presentation at your club, maybe you want to get into lecturing. We will at some point, and you will at some time, have to do some public speaking. And if that's like, so fearful, then guess what you have to do? You have to practice a little bit. Yeah, practice a little bit. And here's my advice when people say, wow, what are you going to do? Just pretend you're having a conversation with someone. Don't think of it as you and them. Think of it as a one-on-one conversation and you're talking to them. That'll kind of take some of that pressure off. You need to be able to have some good writing skills. Whether you're writing descriptions for a workshop you're doing, whether you are doing a blog, whether you have information on a website, whatever it is that you're doing, maybe you want to get into article writing, maybe you're writing an ad for your business, like whatever it is, you need to have some skills in these areas. Business skills. I would say everyone, all of us should take a business course, regardless of what you're doing, because that will help you long term. There's always things that you will gauge from having some better idea about what to do from business. Versatility. You got to be able to be versatile. You got to be able to change. Some of you, anybody want to open their own facility one day? Is that a goal, right? Guess what? When you open your business, guess who does everything? You, yourself, and I, right? You're cleaning bathrooms, you're buying equipment, where you're doing your marketing campaigns, you're doing everything is going to guess who that's going to come to. You're fixing lights that burn out. You're doing everything. So to be versatile is going to be really key. And to be empathetic to people and others will be really key. So stepping into someone else's shoe, being empathetic, in the long run will help you be a better individual in whatever it is you're doing. And here's my favorite. Just do it even if you suck at it. Just do it, right? If we don't try, we're never going to get better at anything. It's like if you never played tennis a day in your life, you do other sports, you go to play tennis, are you going to be great at it the first time? Probably not. But if you practice, you will get better. So just try it. You've got to step outside of that comfort zone and do things that might help you. So don't let fear stop you. You don't necessarily have to go bungee jumping. You're like, I'm not going bungee jumping. You don't have to do that. But take that first step to that change, because you never know when one door, closes, another door opens, and things can change with you within your career. All right, you need to be your own brand. You need to be your own brand. You need to understand you as an individual as a brand. How do you as an individual, how are you how are you being seen outside as your own brand? If you're a trainer, if you're an instructor, if you're a coach, what is your brand? What are the things that you are bringing to the table? What are your values? What is your mission or your value content? What are the things that are going to guide you and your vision itself? All those types of things are all about your brand. As a personal trainer, you are a brand. That's your business. If that's what you're doing, if you're that's your brand. So your brand is really important to you. So you need to think about yourself in terms of what makes other brands so identifiable. What are the things that they bring into that people recognize a brand for? So if you're going to do something, you need consistency in all your messaging. You need consistency in all your look. You need consistency in what you're doing for your brand placement. Create that platform, make a branding plan. How am I going to be perceived? How is my business going to be perceived? What is the brand of my career going to be looking at? And often it's just, it's just you. It's you. Marketing. So if you're going to start a business, you're marketing. Marketing is, what is marketing? Anybody know? Poor little one. Marketing is everything that you do. Everything that you do is your marketing. So here's an example. If you're personal training and you got your sweatpants on and you're drinking your coffee, is that good marketing? No, that doesn't show good marketing, right? You start a facility and you have a schedule out, and someone on the schedule, it was kind of printed off center, right? And someone picks that up. Guess what? That's your marketing. That's showing what your business. People are, you haven't updated whatever page, your website, whatever it is, for a long time. So marketing is everything you do. You've got your vehicle with your company name on it, right? And someone cuts you off and you flip them the bird, right? That's your company, that's your marketing. So you have to be very self-aware. If you're managing people, how are they answering the phone? That's your business. So all of those types, everything that you do is marketing. So you have to be, again, thinking about that on a regular basis. And nowadays, here's a nice thing, the power of social media is awesome. When I started out in the industry, we'd put up, in our club, we had, boards, and we put up paper, come to this class or come and do that. We mailed out postcards, My daughter didn't even know what a postcard was last week, so we've come a long way, right? We've come along, you and now all of us, it's so much easier to hit more people faster than ever. It's even to market yourself or through that. Now here's the deal, with social media, you need to know your market and what social media tool, there's so many out there, what they use. So know your demographic and do your research on what the tools that they are using. So someone like my mom, she's probably going to use only Facebook, right? She's not going to be doing any other social media channels. That's what she's, on her iPad. Mom, don't do that. But, but that's what they're, so from that perspective, it's fantastic. We meet more people. But what else can it do on the negative side? Faster than ever if things don't go as well, or there's more of that on that side of it. So we're more accountable from the flip side, and also looking at your career. What are you posting on your sites? If you're looking for a job in the future and someone goes on your page, what are they going to see on that? And that is really also important. From an employer perspective, those are things that we look at. I search out the people that I'm going to hire and have a little bit of a background check. So if you need to take a look at that, that's something also to think about. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that. All right. So a couple things, branching out on your own. So maybe some of you have been doing something for someone else for a long time and you're ready. Anybody ready to kind of do something else on your own? Branch out from there. A couple things to do. You got to create a game plan, and you need to be financially prepared. So if you're ready to step away from the table of whatever it is that you're doing, what is the plan? Don't just quit and hope that something's going to come your way, right? Don't quit and hope that this is going to work out. You need to have a plan in place, and you need to have a little bit of money put aside in case things take longer than you think they are going to need. Know your liabilities. If you're going out, for example, maybe you were training under a company and now you're going out on your own. Do you have the insurance that you need? Do you have all of those types of things that you need to be aware of? You need to build up your client base or whatever your business base is that you're moving towards, making sure that you have something set up and in place from there. You need to move on in a professional way, meaning if you're leaving a job, do it in a professional manner. Give people time. Don't take clients, all their clients, all those things that may, at the end of the day, could potentially hurt you. So you want to make sure that you're doing it in a professional way. Be prepared to take on greater challenges and risks. And, you're going to be at the mercy of what's going to be happening all the time. You're going to be it. So being willing to be able to do that. And the other thing when going out on your own sometimes is to set up a network with other professionals that are doing something similar. So one of the women that I've known for years, a colleague, we meet every 6 weeks. She works at home on her own. I work independently as a consultant as well. So we get together and we, just connect or create, if you're doing something a little bit different, connect with other people that are in your industry and have roundtables so you can be in discussions to understand what that is. If you're opening a business, same thing, do your homework. If you want to open a business and you want to open, say, a fitness club, for example, you need to know every single thing about every club that is around you within a radius. You go to those clubs. What classes are they opening? What personal training? What programs are they doing? How much do they charge? What are their hours? How many staff do they have? How many pieces of equipment they do? When you have a business every single year, you should be benchmarking every other business that is around you and is a competitor to you. You need to know what they are doing so you can do something different or something better than they are, or offer something else. So do your homework. Have a clear vision of what you want to do. You need a thorough business plan. You've got to put that in place. If you want to open a business, you need to know what it is that you're doing. Decide if you want a solo or a partnership or a group, right? Do you want to own this yourself or do you want a partner? And if you get a partner, remember what I said in the beginning? Find someone who is not identical to you. Find someone who brings different skill sets to the table and make sure you have a clear arrangement before that. Find the ideal location, space. Things people don't think about is parking. Often you have a great space but no parking. Guess what? People won't come. It's a hassle. Even though they're going to work out, they don't want to park 2 blocks down and walk. That's got to be close. So thinking about those types of things. Covering your financial needs plus extra than what you thought you would need, because those first few years are going to be rough. Get bums and seats, meaning fill your space up. If you have empty space between maybe 10 and 2, who can you bring in there at those times to use your space? Can you rent it out? So your space needs to be busy all the time. Be prepared to do everything. Diversify your offerings, so don't just offer one thing, but diversify. Here's the deal. Know your numbers in your business. Whatever you're doing, you need to know your numbers on a regular basis because you need to be prepared for change. Rapid, responsive, regular change. Look at someone like Blockbusters. What happened to them? Did they rapidly change? Did they respond fast enough? No. What happened? Netflix came in. They didn't respond, they didn't change, and they went out of business. So you need to be responsive and rapid and change all the time. Taking on a management role. How many of you are thinking about moving into management or have had some aspirations of maybe this is what you want to do? Know your strengths and weaknesses as an individual. Some of the things that we talked about in the beginning are really key. Spend time getting to know your team. So if you go into a new job as a manager, the worst thing you could do is go in and try to change everything right away. That will just hang you right away. So when you start a new job or in a new role, or even if you're moving up, talk to people. Get to know what's happening. Spend that first, month, 2 months, maybe even 3 months, depending on figure out what's going on. Get to know people. Get to know the business before you rapidly just change things. Connect with people one-on-one. Pick up the phone. Talk to people. Get to know what they're doing. I like this: seek first to understand and then be understood. Covey. It's understand. Ask questions first before making assumptions with people. Practice RRCs. Recognize, reward, and celebrate people's successes. Recognize, reward, celebrate. Find people doing things right and congratulate them for that. It's the little things that will make a difference as a manager. Put everything in writing. Everything in writing. Because if you have a conversation with a staff or an employee and you talk about it and you leave, everybody leaves happy, guess what? Somebody's forgot something. So put everything in writing. That's really good advice. Run proper meetings. It's not just wah, wah. Educate people. Every single meeting you have should have an education component in it because people want to learn. They don't want to just be told, but they want to learn and take something away from that. Hire, train, and retain your right people. If they're happy, they're going to want to stay there. And then manage by walking around. You got to be out on the floor. So those things will help from a career perspective. All right. So if that's an area that you want to go, and if you're working for someone else, be a great employee. Come on time. Be prepared. Want to be there. Be a great employee because if you go from good to great on a regular basis, you will have more opportunities within that business if that's something that you're aspiring to. So be a really good employee. Do the things, just do the right things. Make the right choices. Make the right decisions. All right. How are we doing? Good? All right. Only 2 hours to go. No, just kidding. All right. All right, so life lessons for navigating your career. Just a couple of things, lessons I'd like to share with you. Number one, be a lifelong learner. Be a lifelong learner. So all the time we're going through a mode where we're either learning or teaching and learning. So thinking about every time you go and have that opportunity, I always think of learning as three things. When I go into a workshop or I go into a lecture, did I learn something new? I think, okay, did I learn something new? Did I question what I thought I knew? Or did it reinforce what I knew? So if I can answer one of those, or maybe all of them, so then I'm taking away something. So taking away something from every experience that you go on. Tie your learning into your career path. So what are the things that you need from a learning perspective to go further on into your career? So tie that in to what it is that you're doing. What are the credentials that you want to do? And think about what it is that you want to be in terms of, do I want to be an expert in this area? Then what is the learning and education that I need? Do I want to be a generalist? What are the, do I need to know a little bit about a lot of different types of things because I need the versatility? So for you, it makes a difference between where you want to take that path. Is this in the area that you want to be? Number two, become a better teacher, a better coach, a better educator, a better leader by understanding how others learn. How do children learn differently from someone else? How do adults learn? Like, what do adults want in terms of an environment when they're learning? Is that they want it to be welcoming, they want it to be motivating, and they want it to be trusting. So creating environments for people where they feel safe and where they want to be part of that environment, whether it's a coaching scenario, whether it's a teaching scenario, whether it's a leadership and scenario, thinking about creating that trusting environment. Have fun doing what you do, right? Is exercise fun? Is it?
Not always.
Is exercise fun for you? Yes? Is it fun for that new person? No, not really. Let's think about it, right? They come to their very first workout with, right? I'm like, oh, I've had clients say, before they start personal training, I'm gonna get in a little bit of shape first before I get a trainer. It's like this thing. So for us, it's fun. We could go. I teach all over. I teach Iceland. I teach wherever. I can walk into any gym in the world and feel. You guys could do the same thing. Feel really comfortable. But for that new person, it's not that much fun. They're self-conscious. It hurts, they're not quite sure what to do, those types of things. So we have to be careful when we say, yay, exercise is so fun, because it is fun once we do it for a little while. But how do we make that environment, motivating for them, or how do we make people feel successful, right? That's the key. How do they make them feel successful in whatever they're doing? And maybe they can't do everything yet, but there's a pathway to help them to be successful. But if you have fun, guess what? If you have good energy, that's going to pull off on the others around you. So enjoying what you're doing and having fun. Under promise and over deliver. Yeah, that's a big one, right? If you're going to say you're going to do something, guess what? You better do it. And you better do it when you said you're going to do it. And if you can't, you better give yourself a bigger window to complete what it is that you will say that you're going to do. So under promise, over deliver. It puts you up into that higher perspective of doing a really great job. Get to know people in your career, whatever it is you're doing, get to know people. And it's interesting, when we look at sense of well-being, is fostering a sense of belonging, is when it comes to happiness, research shows that social bonds are probably the most meaningful contributor to life satisfaction. We want to connect with people. We want to have bonds with other people. So thinking that, understanding what people's story is. Ask them, what is their story? What is your story? People are interested in the story. So creating that opportunity to get to know people in your career will help you, both in what you're currently doing and maybe when you're networking outside of that, because you never know when those paths will cross as well. And like in what's that TV show, Survivor, right? Who usually wins Survivor? The person who they're kind of conniving, I think, but they foster a lot of they're good. Maybe they're not true, right? But they're creating that relationship with different people within that. So get to know people, get to understand what they want. And know what people really, really want. Do you know what people really, really want? Chocolate. Yeah, sex and chocolate. No, okay, what do people really want? Well, okay, maybe a little bit. But What is it? When we're looking at staff satisfaction, when you're looking at employee satisfaction, guess what the 2 top things are that employees want? Super easy. It costs nothing. Praise and recognition. Those are the 2 top things people want, is praise and recognition. Recognition for what they're doing and praise for what they're doing. That costs you nothing to do. When it comes to people, when you say what do they want in a job, when it gets to the point where they want money, guess what? They're not happy in that environment. The praise and the recognition is really key. For our staff evaluations every year, we would do a number of evaluations out throughout the year. And then one of the things we would always ask is how, if you're going to be rewarded for a job well done, what are some of the things that you would like? So you can't give someone a reward if it's not something of value to them. So we would ask them, okay, what would you like? Do you want tickets to a movie? Do you want a bottle of wine? Do you want flowers? Do you want more responsibility at the club? Do you want, X, Y? So we would list, different things that we could give them. And the number one thing that always came back that people wanted was a thank you card. Was a thank you. It cost you nothing. That was awesome. Spending the time to do that. This woman that I mentored me for years with our pay stubs for all the staff at the club, every 2 weeks, 100 pay stubs that she would do, she would write on every single pay stub and find 3 things that person was doing well in their job. Every 2 weeks, she would do that. She was just amazing like that. She recognized the value of praise and recognition. Our turnover rate for staff, next to nil, because people felt like they were part of that team. So easy to do. Thank you cards. Call people up to say, hey, good job. Write them a note. Number 6, choose your attitude. Every day when you go into your job, you have how many of you in this room have to work, right? We have to work. So we have 2 choices in the morning. We get up and we're like, ugh, right? Miserable. You're going to have a miserable day. Or we go in with a positive attitude and we have a better day. And people around you will see that, right? People around, especially in a leadership position. You walk into your job and you close the door. What is that saying about your leadership style? So choose your attitude. You have choices every single day to be that positive person. Number 7, be a team player. I put this picture up here because I read this story where this woman in the change room got stuck in her bra top in the club. Women, you get this. Men don't, right? It's tight, it's sweaty. Anyway, she had to get staff to come in and help her get her bra top up. Now that's an embarrassing situation, which we don't want to get into. But team playing is about how do you help other people. When you go back to your facilities or your clubs or with your other students, share the information that you got this weekend with as many people as you can. Be a really good team player. Be supportive, be there, help people when they need it, when they ask, get back to people if they need, be that person. We want all of us to be that team player. Number 8, motivate and inspiring others. So when we think about it, that's what our industry really is about, is how do we motivate people, how do we inspire them. Motivation often is short term, right? It's short. People are motivated by, they're going on vacation, they want to lose weight. They're doing this. But when the vacation is over, the motivator is now, that was the vacation is over. So we need to look at a way to inspire people for the long term. How do we inspire them? Like that person that said to me, how long do I have to do this exercise? This fitness stuff. This is for the rest of your life. How do we inspire them? And I say all the time, we fall off the path, right? Our clients, our students, they fall off, but we got to get back on and take one step at a time. Make it easier for people. I say, all I want you to do today is get out and walk for 5-10 minutes. That's it. I'm not following the guidelines of, this many minutes, this many. I just want them to start, because if they do 10 minutes, guess what? Chances are they're going to do maybe 15 or 20. So that first step is hard, so we need to motivate people to be less inactive and more active in little steps. Help them along that path. Inspiration versus motivation. All right, pay your dues. You gotta pay. You're not gonna go from A to Z right away. So paying your dues means putting that time in to create the effort that you need to get where you want to be. It's gonna take time. You're not going to have all those experiences right away, but remember, everything that you do will lead to those different opportunities that will come. Step into somebody else's shoes. Remember what it's like to be new to anything that you're doing. Step into their shoes. Remember what it feels like. I love this. This is a reminder for me. Every summer we go up to the cottage, and So the kids, it's a little lake, so we have a little putt-putt boat, but Mr. Wilson has the big power boat, right, down the dock. And the kids sit on the dock, right, looking at Mr. Wilson, like, anyway, so he'll pick them up and take them for a ride. Long story short, Mr. Wilson comes over, and I haven't seen him for a whole, full year. He's looking really fit and healthy. I go, hey, you're looking great. What have you been doing? He goes, yeah, I went and did one of those classes. I go, oh, yeah. He goes, yeah, I threw up. I'm like, oh, halfway through. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, he goes, it's okay, but I tried again. I go, yeah? He goes, yeah, I did that class. He's doing this. He goes, yeah, I got through the whole thing. I didn't throw up. He said, but I couldn't move for 4 days. And then I go, okay, and I'm waiting for the third, and guess what? He never went again. But the nice thing is that he was founded in a way to, find something that worked for him. But how sad, because nobody stepped into his shoes and remembered what it was like to be that new person. No one checked in with him after he threw up. No one followed up. So we need to step in someone's shoes and remember what it's like to be that new person. He's a lucky story because he was able to do it, but lots of times we lose people and we never get them back again. So we need to find ways. We rise by lifting others. We rise by lifting others. Lead by example. So leadership isn't a big office. It's not a position, it's action and it's example. And people may doubt what you say, but they will believe what you do. They will believe what you do. Be more than oatmeal. Oatmeal, we know, is good for us, but kind of bland. It's good and healthy. So create a disturbance. I love this. Mindy Milray, so we were at a award ceremony and she knew she was getting an award, and that was the underwear she wore for the photo shoot. Right? Guess who everybody remembered? They remembered her, right? So in life, don't do things the same as everybody else. Create some disturbance. If your business card is square, maybe create a round one. Someone might remember that more. So think outside of how you can do things a little bit differently. Be confident in your rainbow underwear. A colleague of mine went to work for Apple, and she told the story. She's had a similar career, just like myself or Buddy, whomever else, and got hired by Apple. And she said she would go into these meetings, these board meetings, and there's doctors and blah, 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 and all these really high-powered people doing really amazing things at Apple. And she'd been working on the Apple Watch, and that was her job, she said. And so she would wear her rainbow underwear. So she would be party underneath and all business on top. So whatever you need to do to find your confidence and have some fun. And be you. This is a key thing. I get to present with great people all the time, but we are all buddies in the room. Sorry, Buddy, that's not the best picture of you, but but that's Buddy. But be you. Find out you. You can't be me. You can't be anybody else. You've got to be you. Find the best you that you can be. No one is you, and that is your power. That truly is what your uniqueness is. Couple things for career stuff. These are kind of don't do's. Don't be unprofessional. Don't lack integrity. Be an integral person. Don't let your ego get in your way. Sometimes you guys step away from that. Thinking you need to know everything. You don't need to know it all. I thought I was way smarter back then than I am now, right? So we don't need to know what it is. Working in and not on your business. If you're doing everything all the time, same thing with your career. Working in versus on your career, you don't have any time to step back. So you need to look at what you're doing and where you're going. And letting yourself get burnt out, right? This is a burnout industry because we're dealing with who all the time? We're dealing with people all the time. We work crazy hours, So if you get burnt out, my husband used to say to me, what movie would you like to fall asleep to tonight? Like, I don't pick anyone, because as soon as that went on, as soon as I stopped moving, I'm going to crash. And you know what? If you burned out, look at Barbie, right? Barbie's good, but look what happened to her. She burned out, man. So you can't, getting rid of burnout is not about going on a holiday. Right? And we're like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm burnt out, I gotta go on a holiday. Because guess what? On the last day of the beach, I gotta go back, right? It doesn't solve the problem. You've gotta change something. So if you're feeling burnt out, you need to make a change. It's not a holiday, it's not a vacation. That's not gonna fix it. You need to make a change with that, because that's what's gonna make the difference. Because just taking that break is certainly not going to do that. All right, so couple summaries. Find your passion, understand your why, let your life's values be your guide when you have those tough kinds of decisions. Get your credentials, whatever that means, whatever that needs to be for your career. Find a mentor, someone to help you, right? We get ahead by others. Network, be appreciative, say thanks. Say thanks to people for things they do, things that you received. Change directions if you need. The definition of insanity, you've probably all heard this, right? Is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. If it's not working, you got to change it up and do something different. And really, you need to work hard, be persistent. If that's what you want to do, you got to put those hours in. And I'll leave you with this. Action without vision is only passing time. Vision without action is merely daydreaming. But vision with action can change the world. Thank you very much. Good job, everyone. If you have any questions, I will stick around. My name is Krista, and I'm happy to chat with you. Good job. Good luck with everything. Let me know how you're doing. Okay.